Here I am outside of San Diego, California with Toyota's first fully electric vehicle for America. Behind me is the bZ4x and it's in the XLE trim. We'll go over how it's a little bit different than the limited trim. But behind the camera, guys, you can see a Class 8 fuel cell truck. They are in operation here. You can see one back there, operation here in California. And we just have so many electrified Toyota options here. But today, the star of the show is the bZ4x. And it was a big surprise for me that Toyota would be sharing not only the limited, which is down there, that's the top of the line. We get another flavor coming to America, and that is this XLE model. So it has a little bit smaller wheels, as you can see. Down there, I believe those are 20s. These look like 18-inch wheels real quick. And the headlights are actually different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We don't have quite all the dual headlights. I guess that's more of an accurate term. We don't have all the LED headlights that kind of stack up side by side on the front like we do on that limited model over there. But the headlights still look very attractive. And I think Toyota's done a great job with this hammerhead shark design, making sure that the headlights look good, not only on the top of the line, but here on this entry-level XLE trim, which is still well equipped. As we'll get in the inside, you guys will see in a little bit that it's still very well appointed. Now, this is a front-wheel drive model, which is going to give you 150 kilowatts, but what does that mean for us Americans? Well, it's roughly 200 horsepower. 0 to 60 is going to be a little over 8 seconds, something like that. Now, behind us is the all-wheel drive model, which gives you, I believe it's around 80 kilowatts on the front and rear wheels. What does that mean in American? Like 214 horsepower combined for the all-wheel drive model. Battery packs are roughly the same. I believe that white one is going to have about a 72 kilowatt hour battery. And this one here has about a 71 kilowatt hour battery. Range on this guy, for America, Toyota's saying 250 miles. That's probably on the conservative end. I wouldn't be surprised if it can easily go over that, but definitely wait till I can drive this vehicle in the spring, as well as the all-wheel drive model. I'll put up what my estimation is with a couple calculations on the all-wheel drive model back there, but it's not going to be quite as good as this front-wheel drive model. As we come around to the rear, it just looks really good in this supersonic red, very attractive color, kind of blends in well with the taillights, which still look very, very premium, almost kind of like that 80s retro futuristic synthwave sort of styling on these rear taillights. Looks really, really sharp. And underneath, you're not going to see any tailpipes underneath there, just very aerodynamic and flat, as you would expect, as this vehicle is an electric vehicle. So it's going to have to prioritize aerodynamics in order to get that 250 miles of range. And there is the walk around on the first ever electric vehicle, the bZ4x. I saw this vehicle back in Plano. That was more of a prototype. I guess this is a prototype too. That was more of a much earlier pre-production model. These are much more sophisticated and better built, so I'll be able to get on the inside and play with you guys. So before we do though, I want to open up the hood so you guys can see what a Toyota looks like with no engine underneath. You know, I had the Mirai earlier, and the Mirai is very interesting under the hood. And I don't know if this is going to be the final product here, but looking underneath the hood, maybe we'll get some engine covers or something like that, or should I say inverter covers. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at underneath here. It's a little bit foreign to me, but yes, rest assured at the very bottom you're going to have the electric motor, the 201 horsepower or so powering those front wheels. And we'll also get in the back real quick so you have an idea of the cargo capacity back here. We don't have numbers on cargo capacity, but looking in the back, to me it looks like RAV4 size space, which this vehicle is essentially a lowered RAV4 with fully electric powertrain. That's kind of how I see it. A little bit more futuristic looks to it. And of course these seats are going to fold down, so you have more usability. Again, I'll put what RAV4 numbers are for cargo capacity, because that's kind of what I'm expecting here on this bZ4x as well. But it should have better rear leg room, slightly better than the RAV4, which is pretty cool. All right, time to get into this XLE bZ4x. Very exciting. This is my first time actually in the bZ4x, even though I saw it in Plano, Texas for HQ Confidential 2021. I wasn't able to get inside the vehicle. And I just got out of the RAV4 hybrid, the 2022 in the Cavalry Blue over there. And the material is about the same on the top of the door, but down here, it feels like it's a little bit higher quality than it is in the RAV4 hybrid. Here are the window switches. We do have a lot of glossy black like we did in the Mirai. But one of the things that I find just really charming in this vehicle is that we have a stitched dash that goes, and it's even behind here. So they did a great job of incorporating it, that it goes around the screen and all the way across here. And it kind of mimics the same material that we have on the seats. It doesn't feel exactly the same. Maybe it's because we have more cushion here and this is more maybe draped over plastic, but it's about the same sort of pattern that we have on the seats. Now, similar to the Mirai, we actually have volume buttons. We don't have a tuning knob or anything like that, but we have real push buttons for the volume. But this 12-inch widescreen features the exact same technology that we see in that Tundra right there, that Tundra, as well as the off-roading variant TRD Pro and the Solar Octane back there. Now, I need to turn the fans up in here because I'm getting rather toasty, and we have some vents right here behind the Drive Select, which is a turning knob. I can't drive this vehicle. I'm not going to take it out of drive and get in trouble, but I want to go over some of the buttons over here. We have pedal height adjustment. I don't remember if I've ever seen a Toyota or Lexus vehicle with pedal height adjustment, so that's pretty cool. Here's some brake hold as well as your emergency brake. We have an eco mode as well as a snow mode, and then you can take traction control off if you want to do front wheel drive burnouts in this XLE front wheel drive model. This screen is the exact same technology that we see in the Tundra. Instead of the 14-inch screen that you get on the Tundra as an option, we have the 12-inch screen in here. So even this XLE model, we have the large 12-inch screen, so that's really good to see. Now, behind the steering wheel, we have another digital screen. It looks to me like a 7-inch screen. I'll put exactly what it is, but it gives us a lot of information that you would traditionally have with a tachometer or a speedometer. But this being a fully electric vehicle, there's not going to be a tachometer. We do have miles per hour. We have what mode it's in. It's an eco mode right now, which again, if I want to disable that, I could just press this, and now that eco button is off on that screen. We have time up here. This will tell you park or drive or reverse, whatever you're in. This is the charge. So this vehicle is very highly charged. It's almost all the way to the top. It tells us we have 157 miles. The fan is on, meaning that's going to be affecting our range. And then we have some safety features. So these lines are going to show you things like your lane keep assist, lane departure alert, and this indicator is letting you know that those features are turned on. Now, what's interesting, it says power generated, and we don't have the solar roof option on this vehicle, so I don't know what it's thinking. You can get a solar roof on this, but this has the panoramic roof, obviously. So even in this XLE model, you get the pano roof, which is quite nice. Okay, so we have some nice detail here on the mirror, and we have a vanity light above, so that's kind of nice. And when we turn it to the side, we have an additional visor that slides out, so good to see that. A little microphone piece here so you can talk to the car. And it's just kind of a bizarre experience seeing the screen on these little flying buttresses propping it up. We also have an additional detail here on the vents, some dots flowing out. Maybe it's like energy flowing from the battery to the wheels. I don't quite know. Another vent over here, it's quite strong. I'm actually going to turn down the fan in here because these vents are very, very powerful. Automatic high beams here. Of course, this will have the highest safety on any Toyota. I believe it's Toyota's Safety System 3.0. We have a strange piece right here which opens up to give us a USB, and maybe you could hide your phone in here. Maybe on the Limited, we have a phone charging or wireless phone charging option right there, but I don't see it here. But we have this checkerboard design here, and you see how, you know, it goes from big to little. That's the same sort of design cue we see up here on the speaker grill. So interesting, we see it here. And when you open this up, you can kind of see how it's actually cut out, and it's a bit ethereal. You can see through it, and that reveals our wireless charger if it were so equipped in this model. Instead, we just have a USB, which is going to allow you probably to do your wired Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which the new Toyota systems allow you to do wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, so that's no big deal. Here we have automatic heated seats. We also have automatic climate control. If I press that, a green light illuminates. But everything is very functional in here, very easy to use. Now the seat is actually manual. So no power seat on this XLE. You're gonna have to upgrade to that limited model we saw earlier. But even then, as I'm away from the screen, it's about arm's length distance to get to the touchscreen. So it's still within good reach for me. Now the steering wheel is a unique steering wheel. We've never seen this. Now the Chinese market will be getting an optional yoke, and maybe we'll get an optional yoke in the future as well. But it's a very different steering wheel from what we've seen on other Toyotas. The design is very unique. We have some glossy black on the outside, but the quality of the steering wheel is very, very high. It almost feels like a Lexus quality steering wheel. It is pretty stiff, and typically Lexuses have a more give, more cushion to them. The blinkers feel like a Toyota blinker. They're a little bit different design, and the windshield wipers, look, they work. What about should we spray the window? It actually works as well. These are fully working prototypes at this point, and now we have a nice clean windshield on our bZ4X. Oh, and then it has an after effect to clear the remaining liquid. We still have traditional buttons here to adjust the odometer as well as the brightness of the display behind. So I'll go ahead and adjust that for you guys so you can see how that's affected. And I will give you one more look here at the steering wheel and the buttons. Here is going to be your radar cruise control adjustment. This will turn it on and off. Here is your lane keep. This is to go faster with the radar cruise control. This will change the mode of the cruise control, probably from standard to radar. Here's going to be selecting of your presets, and this is going to change AM, FM, satellite, Android Auto, etc. We have a volume switch here, which I'm a huge fan of volume switches instead of buttons on the steering wheel. Oftentimes when I'm in new cars, I would get this switched up with the volume control, but I like how the controls for the volume are noticeably different, and I like them being on my left thumb. Unfortunately, I can't mute it quickly with this button. I can't press it down to turn the volume off quickly. So that would be nice to see if this was depressible to turn off the radio completely. And of course, this is going to allow you to speak to the vehicle, to give it commands, take me to Starbucks, stuff like that. But I feel like it's probably a good time to get in the back seat after we look underneath the armrest here. Nothing to show or talk about. I don't see a way to open up the glove box here. So there could be a button or a secret button. We have some vents here, which I find pretty interesting. We have USB-C here, USB-C on the other end. We also have a 12-volt here, and then maybe a place for you to store your phone if you would like right in here, or a map or something like that. And more storage down here with felt line material. I would assume in the production model that this would be like adhered down with some glue or something like that. Now getting in the back seat of the bZ4X, and it feels like I have more legroom in here than the RAV4. It feels more like a Lexus ES or Toyota Avalon. Just huge amounts of floor room and a very flat floor. There's maybe a 1 or 2 inch raise here in the middle, but you guys can see map pockets. That's a nice addition here. Additional USB-Cs. We have vents in the back to cool down or heat up the passengers. Lowering the armrest, we have a couple cup holders as well as a phone holder, and you can see just, oh, we have an additional light, a nice little LED light back here, but you just see the additional light that this panoramic roof brings in that you wouldn't be getting in if you had the solar roof option. Additional black plastic here, quite a bit. This kind of design almost looks like it's mirroring the taillight design just a little bit. Pretty cool to see that in here. And then a silver trim as well, which we have silver trim on the front of the vehicle too. Cup holders down here on the side of the door. And I forgot to mention that there are also cup holders on the side of the door up front. But that's going to sum up my brief time with the bZ4X. This is the XLE model. I was really excited to see this because I didn't think that Toyota would be giving us multiple grades, at least at this point in time. So we have a limited, we have an XLE, we have all-wheel drive. Over there is all-wheel drive limited, but I'm just happy to see that the bZ4X is right at our doorstep. Availability will be summer 2022. I'll get my hands on it to be able to drive it for you guys in the spring of 2022. So 3 or 4 more months from now. We got to get through lovely winter. And signing out from foggy London town, foggy San Diego, California. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. I'll see you down in the comments about Toyota's very first electric vehicle here in America.